Thank you for joining me. We're going to take a look here at an epic game between two of the greatest players in the world. Magnus Carlsen should need no introduction as the world champion since 2013, and really Ding Liren also. Um, he's the three-time national champion of China, one of the highest rated players in history, one of very few players to make it over 2,800. Um, I think I'm saying that right, Ding Liren. I'm not sure if it should be the other way around. His dad's last name was Ding, so I think that means that Ding should be the family name, which goes first. But yeah, so his father Ding Jun, and here's his mother's name and pictures of them. But yeah, he is a phenomenal chess player and has earned the right to play for the world champion title. So in this tournament, it's actually the Singfield Cup, and Loren has managed to, so Ding has managed to beat Magnus in the previous game. They're playing a rapid, and Magnus actually lost on time. So in this game, actually, Ding only needs to secure a draw to win the entire tournament. So this is pretty amazing because this is the first time ever that a human has managed to beat Magnus Carlsen at any kind of tournament or any kind of qualifier. Magnus Carlsen's never even been down in points in anything like this before to another person. So yeah, now basically Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, playing with the white pieces, is fighting for his life here. And of course, you want to attack the center of the board, develop your pieces efficiently, get knights and bishops into the game. Magnus Carlsen going with a Ruy Lopez in this must-win game. Again, Magnus has to win this game, and we see the Morphy's defense. This been played for nearly 200 years, or well, probably more than 200 years, but Morphy's defense for more than 160. And you're seeing these little symbols here. These are all book moves. These are book moves that are played by grandmasters in top play. That's what these little icons mean. So Magnus castles, and this is a game that has been played many times at the highest levels, and even the lower levels as well. So all these moves are repeats really, and again that's why you're seeing these little books here. And now we've kind of traveled into some new moves, and yeah, both players trying to struggle to control the center of the board, get their pieces involved. And it's pretty much a known move to push the pawn to c3, as we saw a couple moves earlier, in anticipation for the knight coming there and challenging the bishop. Generally, the grandmasters like to hang on to their bishops. Bishops are better than knights, especially as you get to the end game. Things start to open up. Yeah, the bishops are going to be the stronger piece. And oh, so yeah. Ding just trying to control more of the center of the board, maybe locking down that d4 square, but Magnus goes ahead and goes right after it, and he goes for the exchanges. Now again, Ding would be happy to get a draw here, so Magnus has to play fairly aggressively to make sure that he's able to get a win here. And really, the computer suggesting this might be a mistake, but really it's just as good as the b3 move. And the players well positioned now, just trying to get their pieces optimized. They're mostly developed now. A little bit of a shuffling to get things going, and again Magnus just going for it. He really wants to get some sort of an attack going. This is not a move that I would probably play. I feel like it weakens my king, and I'd be a little worried about that. And it does come back to cause some problems later in the game. Okay, so yeah, so this is a bit strange. So this was a rapid game. Normally, you probably wouldn't trade. Magnus would not allow his bishop to fall to the knight, but yeah, this is a rapid game, so things are a bit different. And again, Liren offering the queen trade, which probably is going to lead to a more drawish outcome. More than likely, you're going to get a draw if the queens are off the board, especially with these grandmasters. They're very good at getting draws. You look at their game record, it's draw, 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 win, draw, draw, loss, and draws and draws. So Magnus, again, he's playing for a win, so he doesn't want that. He's trying to get those pieces all coordinated. Now, Magnus would like to bring, well, so he's going to move his pawn up here, the b3 pawn, looking to put the knight on c4 here, which would be a really strong square for the knight. So Ding actually backs his queen up, which is the strongest move here, realizing that he needs to get his bishop there to kick that knight off of c4. That's just too dangerous of a spot, too nice of a spot, blocking those rooks and just kind of controlling things. So, of course, Magnus does have to get out of there, and this actually strange move, knight on the rim, is the best move in the position. There was no better move. Normally, you don't want to put your knights on the edge of the board like that, but yeah, this is the move to make here. It's the only move that kind of keeps things going. And yeah, so Ding just protecting his pawn and getting the rook a pretty nice spot. Now the knight can't go back to c4 as it stands right now because of the bishop's control and of course both the rooks. So this move is the best move to play in the position. And a bit of a misstep here. Magnus probably should have just gone ahead and kicked the bishop back so that he could get a better position for his knight. But instead he goes for this move, and I believe Ding goes ahead and captures. And we end up with some trading here. So kind of an interference move. If you've seen my video on interference, you know what that's about. But interfering with the defense, the rook was defending, but by putting the knight there, he interferes with the defense of the rook. So bishop captures, now the rook is hanging. But this does unleash a discovered attack on the queen. So the bishop takes, and now the rook, of course, is attacking the queen, so you can't take the bishop. So as it turns out, black ends up getting a knight and 2 pawns for the rook. So it's an even trade, really, when it comes down to it. And if you look at the evaluation bar here, it's looking very drawish. Maybe white has a bit of an advantage, but not by very much. So yeah, it's a fairly even game. It does say that Ding is up 1 point, so he is technically winning in this position, and this ends up being a very strong move, just getting the bishop out of harm's way. And so the computer is suggesting that this is a blunder, but if you look at the evaluation in the top left-hand corner there, it says that Ding is down by was winning by 2.9 points. So the world champion Magnus Carlsen is down by 2.9. But the move that they suggest playing instead, it really comes out no better. Just going ahead and capturing the knight. Magnus has to, so this is threatening checkmate here. The queen coming all the way down to a1. So Magnus has to step aside to prevent that checkmate from happening. And, black will be able to save his pawn. But if you look at the evaluation, this line has the same, Ding is ahead by 2.9 as well. So it's funny that they call Magnus's move a blunder when it turns out that the rating is the same, or the chances of winning are about the same. So Magnus is losing in this position. He's down by several points, regardless. Okay, just attacking the bishop, saving the knight. A great position for the knight as it is defended there. And Magnus going after the queen here. The computer suggesting that he should have just picked up this pawn instead rather than that move. And yeah, so again, Ding finds the strongest move in the position, just taking over the c-file. And Magnus well, actually, he's attacking the queen. I think maybe hoping to win the rook here, but Ding, again, being happy with a draw, is happy to trade down material. A queen is worth 9 points, two rooks are worth 10 points, so Ding getting a minor advantage in that situation. And now the white king is on the run, and I'm thinking that Magnus Carlsen is probably a little bit unhappy with having pushed his pawns, considering there's going to be some holes in that castle now that are going to come back to bite him. Okay, so really, I think Ding just trying to get his bishop out of harm's way. It was undefended there. So a loose piece, you always want to keep track of loose pieces. One of the most important things you keep track of in chess, do you have pieces that are undefended? And, so with that bishop sitting back there on A8, this bishop could maybe attack a rook or something. Well, obviously not like that because the pawn would capture him, but come up with some sort of an attacking move for the bishop, and then the queen would also be attacking this bishop, so would be pretty challenging. So Ding, not wanting to deal with that, goes ahead and moves his bishop to a square where it's defended. It's defending the knight is defending the bishop. There's this beautiful synergy between all of Ding's pieces here. They're mostly defended except for this pawn down here. And I think Magnus goes ahead and grabs that pawn, which is a decent move. The computer does say defending your own pawn around your king is probably a better idea. That does make some sense to me. I mean, I get nervous when my king has a castle that's got half the walls knocked down. That doesn't seem safe. Okay, so actually, this move ends up being a losing move here. Magnus really needed to move his knight here and defend these squares. So this was the only move that saved the game for Magnus. And he did not catch it. He was trying to find something more active. And again, this was a rapid game, so it's not like Magnus had, dozens of minutes to consider each move. So Magnus goes in and captures the pawn. And Ding does find the strongest move here, actually, just pinning that knight. And now that knight is out of the game, and he's not going to be able to defend his queen. Notice the bishop has got this diagonal, perhaps. All we have to do is move the knight, and the bishop would be taking that diagonal, which would support the rook for checkmate, as, again, the knight here is absolutely pinned to the king. So pretty dangerous stuff. Ding has a pretty commanding position now. Now Magnus Carlsen is threatening checkmate a couple different ways. He can force checkmate in one way, and he's threatening a checkmate in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I think it's 4 moves another way. You might pause your video and think about this for a few moments. Yeah, Magnus Carlsen is threatening checkmate in a couple different ways, but Ding Liren's next move forces Magnus Carlsen to resign the game, and Ding Liren wins the tournament. And yeah, so go ahead and think about that for a few moments as you like, if you pause that video. But I'm going to go ahead and reveal the answer for those of you who just want to watch the show. It is knight to e7. So sacrificing the knight, but you can actually take the knight. Of course, you could, if you take the knight with checkmate, well then rook here is just checkmate, as the bishop helps control that corner. And as I mentioned earlier, the knight is absolutely pinned. Now, if you maybe you saw this move thinking this prevents checkmate, as the queen cannot come there, but it does prevent the checkmate in one. That's true. But if you play this move, actually, yeah. So I think queen comes here. You can't really block with this bishop because you have the queen and the bishop focusing on that square. That's going to be checkmate anyway. This is, whoops, yeah, moving this bishop here is pointless. You just capture it for free. So really the only reasonable thing to do is to move the king, but this fails. The bishop coming here. The king's got to come up. Let's see. I think think queen here, check, king is here, and then this ends up being mate. That's checkmate. And I would call that that's a dovetail mate. He's kind of like a tail. So the knight's covering this square. But if it wasn't for the knight covering that square and the pawn there, it wouldn't be checkmate. And since there is a tail behind him like this, and it's on the same color as the king himself, so this tail is on the same color as the king. So this is a swallowtail mate. And I think it's an important idea to remember the different names of tactics, of checkmates, because the names end up being a handle that you can use to pull the tactic out of your mind and use it on the battlefield that is the chessboard. But yeah, so actually, so Ding Liren, who is now going to be playing for the world title. Ding Liren has the opportunity, the beginning of next year, the beginning of 2023, he will be playing to become the world champion. So a 3-time national champion of China, one of the highest rated players in the history of the world at over 2,800. He may become our next world champion with moves like that. Yeah, pretty awesome stuff. Well, thank you for joining me for that. Please like, subscribe, as I will be posting new game reviews many times per week, as well as tactics, different checkmate patterns. We will be studying all different aspects of chess. So if that's what you're into, hey, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.